So welcome everyone to the ChampCar.Live interview with Randy Pobst. I'm Paul Veltum, and of course Randy is here, and so we're going to talk today about driving etiquette, specifically as it comes to passing, overtaking other cars on the racetrack. And so Randy, before we get started, there may be a few people that don't know that much about who Randy is, so maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello everybody in Champ Car land. I'm Randy Pobst. I've been a racer, professional racer, my entire life. And I did not have another job. I'm proud of that. That was my job, driving. People hired me to drive. I didn't bring them a sponsorship. And I'm proud of that, as you can probably hear from all this boasting. That's 30 years plus. I've run, I estimate, going on 700 road races, many of which are endurance races. And in those hours and hours of track time, I'm watching what's going on around me. And every so often, cars tangle, right? Crashes happen. Oftentimes, it's in entering a corner. That's a critical time. And oftentimes, one driver says, "Oh, you turned in on me." And the other driver says, "I never even saw you." So watching this, I thought to myself and gave it a lot of thought. What are some of the basic concepts that we can all understand to reduce crashing? Because crashes are awful. They're terrible things. They ruin your car. You get mad. They ruin your weekend. Your co-drivers hate you because they never got in the car. All these bad things happen. But racing is risky. And we can minimize that risk by having certain standards. I realize we need standards, ideas that everyone understands, because guess what? I also noticed that every driver and every steward has a little bit different idea about who has the responsibility in these tangles and whose fault it is and why it happened. So standards. Now, what makes sense in a standard? This is something that's going to be the same for everybody. And I realize that in all sports, they depend a lot on our natural hand-eye coordination. Everybody has that. You've heard in baseball, keep your eye on the ball. Golf, keep your head down until after you've hit the ball. Tennis, you know, it goes on and on. Hockey. Your vision is the single most important part of your driving. Where are you looking? Look ahead. And this applies as well to passing. And I came up with two basic ideas that what I call the natural laws of passing. And they're based on what you can see. And number one, don't hit what you can see. Makes sense. I mean, that's simple, right? What it really applies to is when you're going to turn for the corner. In that danger zone where most crashes happen, when you're about to turn for a corner or even change lanes on the racetrack, when you're about to turn, what can you see? And in the brake zone, if you're entering a corner, you're in the brake zone, you know somebody's about to pass you, or even if you don't, some car appears in your peripheral vision. When that car appears in your peripheral vision, they have now established position. They now have the upper hand. They're now in the way of your line. If you turn like you always do now with that car that you can see next to you, there's going to be a crash and it's going to be your fault unless they can get out of the way. But you cannot rely on that. And so number one, you're braking for a corner, going straight in the brake zone, the best place for a pass to happen among competitive cars, and a car appears in your peripheral vision next to you before or just as you're turning in, that car now has position, and you have to slow down and alter your driving to make racing room for them. They have earned racing room by getting into your vision in the brake zone. Now, what happens if you've already turned? Once you turn for a corner, everything's different. Because once you turn for a corner, are you looking in your mirrors? Are you fast? Are you turning good lap times? If you're turning good lap times, you're not looking in your mirrors, and you can't look in your mirrors. I ask you, where are you looking when you head into a corner? When you turn for that corner, where are your eyes? If you're any good, if you've ever been to the skip arbor racing school, etc. The apex, you're looking at the apex. You have to look where you want to go, because you go where you look. So after the leading car turns for the corner, the whole situation changes. The leading car now creates something naturally happens that I call the vortex of danger. The vortex of danger is a triangle, and it's inscribed by the lead car turning for the corner, the inside edge of the road, and the apex. You know that is a cone. I call it a vortex because it tends to suck you in. Because for a moment, it looks like it's going to be okay. There's plenty of room. It looks good. But guess what? It's too late. That hole is closing fast. If you stick your nose in there against a good car, you're not going to make it. He's going to see you all right when you hit him, and that crash is your fault. The lead car, when it turns for the corner, has to look for the apex. It is now vulnerable. It now needs your respect. Or if you're the lead car, you need the respect of the attacking car, because the attacking car, the pass attempt car, once the lead car turns in, if you're not already in his vision, where are you? Well, you're back here. You're in a blind spot. Guess what? The lead car can't see you. But if you're the attacking car, if you're the passing attempt, can you see the lead car? Yes, you can. It's filling your windshield. 2, do you know what the lead car is doing? Yes, you do. He's going for the apex. The lead car, can he see you? No, he said, you're back here. You're in a blind spot. Does he know what you're doing? No, he doesn't know he doesn't know what you're doing. He can't see you. That's why once the lead car turns for a corner, it's too late. And if you stick your nose in there, you're sticking your nose in the vortex of danger. A corollary to this, though, is ask yourself, are you slow? If you're a slow car and there's another car coming much faster and you turn for the corner and you're doing a good job in your mirrors and you saw a fast car coming, don't go all the way to the apex. Leave a lane. That other car will love you, send you Christmas gifts, birthday cards. When you're slow and you know there's a car coming behind you, go a little bit wide. Leave them a lane. All us champ cars can live and work together, and I've seen it done a million times. In the rules, it says hold your line. And what hold your line means is don't pull out of the way. The faster car that's coming has very likely already decided where he's going. So you be predictable, you drive sensibly, don't pull out of the way, because you're probably going to pull into the way of where the faster passing car had already decided to pass you. Because this whole world on the racetrack is coming at us all the time. And so we've got to always be thinking and planning ahead. You know you're slow. You got a fast car coming up behind you. Leave him the lane at the apex so he can go through you clean, or even better, if the timing is right, get him through in the brake zone and then follow him through on the line in single file. You will both be faster. This is how you turn fast lap times and don't crash in long endurance races, by planning where you might get past. And so when you're in the brake zone, if a car appears inside next to you in your peripheral vision, they now have the upper hand. They have a right to racing room You have to slow down a little bit and not turn in right away because that car has established position. Racing is a chess game. Otherwise, it's Death Race 2000, and that's not what we're doing in Champ Car. We're all working together. We want to win this race, but we want to win it safe. We want our car in good shape at the end of the race so we can go to the next one without body work. Who hates body work? I hate body work. Car appears next to you, inside in your vision. You can't turn yet. He's in your way. He's earned the right to a lane. Let him through, or if you want to hang on the outside and leave him a lane, do it. But boy, the outside is tough. You'll have to slow down extra or you're not going to hang on the exit. Something similar to this is true when you're coming out of a corner. If there's still a car next to you on the outside, you need to tighten your line a little bit and leave them room. Gray areas. If there's a car coming and you feel it, right? Especially experienced drivers can feel when there's a car back there. For your own survival, maybe you go a little bit wide just in case. The second part of that is once the car ahead of you has turned for a corner, he's heading for the apex, it's too late to make a pass unless he's a lot slower. And then you hope and pray that he does you a favor and lets you through. If he doesn't, you got to slow down. You've got to be in enough control and have planned your speed to be able to slow down enough if that car does not leave you room. It's part of surviving endurance races. And these races are 14 hours long and 24 hours long. Another key to making a successful pass is to identify an advantage. Don't expect that you can just simply pop out and dive in there and go buy a car. You need to be constantly calculating in your mind when you're running with another car that you want to pass, or when you're catching a car. Watch it, study it. If you're faster, figure out where, and then use that advantage to pull off your pass. If you have no advantage and you just march straight into his guns, you're asking for trouble. And anytime you attempt to pass, the greater responsibility for a successful and safe pass is on the passer. That's you. And that means you've got to be in control enough that you can leave the other car room in your passing attempt. If you get next to them in the brake zone, that works. If you're side by side through the apex, you have a responsibility to leave that car on the outside some room. You have to slow down enough that you will not slide up into them and dent their door or run them off the road. And the best way to do that is to identify an advantage. Your car or you are faster in a certain corner or certain type of driving, the brake zone, the straightaways, or two, you're able to use traffic. And you plan ahead on that. That you see a car is going to catch somebody slower that will hold them up. Back off early so that you go through the apex at your speed and you can pass that car on the next straightaway. As a passer, whenever we are passing, it's our responsibility to have enough control in the car and knowledge about how fast and how deep to go that we do not spear the car we're trying to pass or run him off the road with our momentum on the exit. There are two very different situations in passing. There's the fast car passing a slow car situation, lapping. And in that situation, what you call presenting yourself is pulling out into his mirror, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And to say, you know what? I'm thinking about coming through this corner and I'm making you aware, giving you a good shot to know that I'm coming. And that's pass number one. And then the slower car should be checking their mirrors regularly and go, oh, that blue Miata appeared all of a sudden. It must be a quick car. He looks like he wants the inside. You know what you can do? You can let off a little bit early and make it easy.
Yep.
This is something I say when I'm coaching a lot. I say, back off a little, make it easy, because these races are how long? 14 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your risk low. Part of racing is managing risk, and a great way to do that is to help people get by you in the easiest way possible when they're going to get by you anyway. And an easy, safe way of that is to let off a little bit early. Don't surprise them, but let off a little bit early so they easily get by you in that brake zone, especially when they're pulling into the mirror and presenting themselves like, knock, knock, excuse me, I'm planning on coming by. I'm thinking about coming by right here. And the other situation is when you're running with a car that is very competitive. Your speeds are similar. Maybe it's near the end of the race and you want to get a position, which only really matters near the end of the race, by the way, or maybe even get a lap back. But that's more like real competitive racing. And we do some of that in ChampCar too, and it's a lot of fun. In competitive type racing, that's when it's most important, one, to identify your advantage, either through your own speed, you or your car, or a traffic situation. And two, it needs to be more of a surprise. When you want to pass somebody competitive, you don't want to warn them. You want to identify your advantage, and then when it's time, pull out and boom, execute. And a good pass is aggressive enough on your part that you get next to them or by them in the brake zone. There was a situation years ago where I ran into a good friend of mine named Shane Lewis at turn 11 at Laguna Seca. I went to outbrake him and I wimped out. I didn't brake late enough. And this is what you were just talking about, Paulie. And so I never got beyond about Shane's back bumper or back wheel as we're going in and the turning zone. And I'm still hard on the brakes. I can't get it stopped. I should have gone deeper, committed. I didn't estimate it properly. And Shane, he didn't see me. He had every right. He turned for the corner and boom, I hit him right in the door and spun him out of the lead.
Wow.
And it was my fault because I didn't commit enough. I didn't execute this pass properly, which means getting next to him or ahead of him in the brake zone before they turn. This is really different from a lapping pass where you really want to get the car through. Mm-hmm. And in ChampCar endurance races, it's always a good idea to let a car through if he catches you. Whenever a car appears in your mirrors that was not there before, he's faster than you. And 99% of the time, you are better off if that faster car is ahead of you, because you're no longer threatened by him attempting to pass you.
I like the idea of letting off if you've got a faster competitor coming through, because then when they turn in, you can just follow them out of the corner. It actually improves
in line, you're
your
faster
exit.
than side by side.
But if you argue with them all the way down to the corner, what do you have possibly to gain from that? You really have nothing to gain. You actually have something to gain by backing out. If I see a group of cars up front that are fighting, I know because in ChampCar we tend to spread out. It's not typical you see four guys. This isn't Spec Miata, okay? So if I see three or four, I'll kind of hang back and I'll pick them off one at a time. I won't go rushing into that pack because that's how we get into trouble. So I'll pick them off one at a time. Yeah, often when I go to pass somebody, I'll try the best thing I like to do is come up alongside in the braking zone and mid-track it. So I'm door handle to door handle. They really don't have much room. If I'm all the way to the inside, they can come across and hit me. But if I'm right up next to them, they really can't go anywhere until I turn in. Most of the drivers are careful out there. And that's how we can go on for hours and hours and pass all of these cars and not get tangled up. But sometimes we'll have a team that comes in or a driver that has more experience or a lot of experience, and they're more apt to be more aggressive because they know maybe better about what their car can do. But they haven't gotten to that point where they've learned to reel it in a little bit to so that we can all cooperate. You know, nobody wants anybody to go home early, and nobody wants crashes. None of us do. You know, ultimately, ChampCar, we're all here to have a good time, and that's what we want for everybody. So we don't have to agree with the rules. But we do need to obey them. So I think it's outlined nicely in the ChampCar rules. And racing, as you said, is dangerous. There's going to be crashes. You know, you're still going to get hit. There's going to be times when you get wronged and someone smashes into your car. You always think it's going to happen to somebody else. So when it happens to you, it's a shock. It's like, wow, this guy just ran into me. What happened? That's part of racing, unfortunately. It's wheel-to-wheel competition. Sooner or later, the odds are going to catch up with you. You're going to get hit, and you're going to hit somebody.
No, I will not. I will not hit anybody.
But we can work towards not doing it, right? And this is part of that process of saying
racing is very risky. I mean, it's incredible that we can do this as much as we do, not crash any more than we do.
Yeah, it really is.
It's amazing.
It really is.
But I will say that when a new driver who's aggressive and has done a lot of sprint racing and has won at the SCCA runoffs and done a Continental or Michelin Tire Series in IMSA comes to Champ Car, when that happens, and I've lived this, we need to be aware of the wide range of experience that we're dealing with and the wide range of car capabilities, and not stick the nose in the vortex of danger and expect that car to get out of your way. When you make a passing attempt that requires that the car you're passing get out of the way, that's low percentage, and that's asking for trouble. And it's very common among highly talented, fast drivers who come into Champ Car.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got to talk to them. We got to reel them in. And occasionally there's drivers that just don't comply, and then they're asked to leave. And we've done that. We're going to continue to do that.
Good.
And unfortunately, when it happens, well, it not only does it, when it happens, it spreads to the other clubs. They find out about it, and then why would another club welcome them with open arms when we've gone as far? They talk to the board. I mean, we go to lengths to try to keep them here, but if we can't come to an agreement that's reasonable that everyone can accept, then we're sorry, but you're not going to be able to race with us anymore. Now, fortunately, that doesn't happen very often. Most of the drivers that come and compete in Champ Car understand, and they can race within the rule set. Yeah, at the end of the day, Champ Car is all about, like any club, we just want everybody to come out and have a great time, have a lot of fun. Everybody goes home with their cars in one piece. And for the most part, that happens. You look at a race like we had a couple years ago at Nelson Ledges, 900 laps. I mean, with 60 cars on the track, that's crazy. And you're going to see some contact now and then, but it's not carnage. It's not a melee, and it's really a testament to how, especially the new drivers, are careful, and they are watching their mirrors, and they are learning. But maybe this video, Randy, will help some of those drivers that not only are new, but maybe are coming from other series that maybe do have a little more experience, that they'll know a little bit better about what to expect when they come to Champ Car, and how we can all go out there, share the racetrack, and have a great experience, and all go home and with our cars in one piece, right?
Yes. So don't stick your nose into the vortex of danger. Don't attempt to pass after a good car ahead of you has already turned, because it's too late. There's not enough time to get in there. It's a vortex that is rapidly closing.
Perfect.
Good luck to you, and I look forward to seeing you all on the racetrack in my mirrors, but not in the vortex of danger.
Well, thanks, Randy. Thanks again for your time. Really appreciate it. And folks, if you have any questions, feel free to contact ChampCar at info@ChampCar.org. Otherwise, we'll see you at the track.
Thanks, Polly.
Absolutely.